Live. I need to fix our category though. How is everybody doing? Happy Monday. Yeah, it's Monday. Oh my gosh. Um, this is Monique, of course, with the Epilepsy Foundation. I am wearing my Packer hat, so if you have a problem with that, I'm sorry, but that's just where we're gonna be today because I'm very proud of my Packers. Um, but today we are, this is the second half of National Epilepsy Awareness Month. Um, Obviously, it's a big month for us. You all know it if you're here and viewing this today. We have our Game Over Epilepsy event happening right now. Halfway through, we've raised $8,000 for the foundation. Last year, for this event, we had raised $4,000 total for the month. So we've already doubled it and we're only halfway through. So ultimately, the goal I would say is probably 20,000, 25. We'd be thrilled with that. We have a huge couple weeks ahead with streams. So thank you all for your support and for all that you're doing to raise awareness for the 3.4 million Americans who have epilepsy, including my guest today, who is actually celebrating 5 years of seizure freedom, which is amazing. OCC Occcoolboy is here. Are you okay if I use your real name, or you want me to do Cool
You're
Boy?
you're fine. You're totally fine to use my real name.
Okay, I'll do Cool Boy. I think that's fine. I can do Cool Boy. I just put Cool Boy's information in the chat. Feel free to drop him a follow, show him your support. He is also charity streaming this month. But today we're here to just talk a little bit more about epilepsy. Obviously, a big reason why we're on Twitch is to help dispel myths, help to educate people, and raise awareness, and also promote accessibility for our community and those who need our support. So, Cool Boy, without further ado, do you want to introduce yourself to the cheering, raving fans?
Oh yes, definitely. My name is Coolboy. Real name is Gil, but I go by Coolboy, OCC Natsuki. There's so many like nicknames
Wait,
that
the
just
the
come with it.
OCC Natsuki, what's that?
That we'll explain that later.
Okay.
But what's it called? So I'm a variety streamer. I do a bunch of things from chatting to eating one chip challenges to playing
Wow.
video games. So another story. um and yeah, I've actually had I was diagnosed with epilepsy when I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
um and it was, yeah, and I've been seizure free for 5 years.
For those in the audience, did you want to talk to them about how you became seizure free, like what your journey was like from when you were diagnosed to today?
Oh, of course. Get ready to get some popcorn. It's gonna be a while.
That's good. Yeah, we want to hear all of it. I think it's
Oh
important that we're all
man.
sharing our journeys. So whatever you feel comfortable with.
No, of course. So actually when I was 12 years old, and what happened was that I was actually having like these like daydream spells, and obviously I had no clue what they were. And even my parents were you know a bit concerned on it because they started like there's a time that it was getting like rare, but then they became more frequent. And what happened was that I got to a point that we got to see a neurologist, and they did a EEG, and obviously they noticed the spikes in the EEG, and that's when I was diagnosed with epilepsy. Um, it was actually crazy because like when it was like not that far after I was diagnosed, that it was also like my first hospitalization. What happened was that so I had my like 13th birthday party,
Okay.
and basically what happened was that I had a bunch of episodes during that time. And for my seizures, I felt literally almost forgot to mention I actually had complex partial seizures. So none like generalized, no tonic-clonics or the psychogenics or any of those types of seizures. Just basically just daydream spells. Um, and so I was having a bunch of those in a very short period of time. And what happened was that after they ended the party early, they spoke to my neurologist, and then that's when they decided to have me go to the ER, to get checked out, and then that's when I was actually like first admitted. Um, and So I was admitted in my local hospital, and then the next day I was actually, again, my seizures were still very uncontrolled, and that's when I actually was transferred to a more bigger hospital over in the city. Basically, I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's called Montefiore Children's Hospital
No, I haven't.
over in the Bronx.
In the Bronx. Okay.
Yeah, it's like the Bronx's like biggest, like in the Bronx they have this network, like the Montefiore health network, and it's like a pretty big one. um and That's where I was actually first, I guess I could say like my first hospitalization was like, there, because I was there for a couple of weeks, well, not weeks, sorry. I was there for like a couple of days.
Wow. Do you remember it like vividly or?
Yeah, I mean, it was, what's it called, that's when we got to meet another neurologist, my neurologist, Dr. Moshe.
Mm.
um and he's still my neurologist, so
Cool.
he's the type that, like once, so that's when we met him. He It was actually funny because he was kind of like a bit strict, but it was like, I guess you could say that, like, it kind of like when you have like that love hate relationship, it felt like one of those.
Sure.
um um you know Once I was done being hospitalized, um then I took medications that I was given. And then, it kind of like, you know it was a bit rough because that was also like my middle school, high
Yeah.
school years. And I know, to make the story go a bit more faster, um
Take your time.
I was hospitalized. Throughout those years I was actually hospitalized 10 plus times.
Wow. Because you're
And
uncontrolled
each
seizures and there wasn't a solution for
Yeah,
you yet. Okay.
yeah, it was, and honestly, for each of those hospitalizations that was there, they lasted for over a week. They were never like just a few days.
Wow.
So obviously it affected my grades in a way. I did get, tutoring at the hospital, because, they have a bunch of stuff there.
Right.
Um, and That's actually where it was actually, I totally forgot to mention that when it was my first hospitalization, that's when we met with the executive director of the Epilepsy Foundation of the Metropolitan New York chapter.
Awesome.
That The hospital contacted her. She came literally the day after, to, provide my family resources, and like, with the knowledge that she had. And that's when we actually, we had our, we started our relationship, with the foundation. And she introduced us to, the different resources that not just the hospital, but also that the foundation provided. Um, and then there, obviously, even the events that the chapter were even doing too, like, there was the walks, there was, a bunch of the stuff. Um, so it actually was like, I think a year or two after I was actually diagnosed, I got a phone call from her. My parents did, and she actually, needed a representative for the chapter, and basically the state, for a program that the Epilepsy Foundation that was hosting was called the Kids Speak Up program.
Yeah.
I know it no longer exists, but, you know, so basically, she wanted us to go to Washington D.C., and, represent, the chapter and the state. Um, and so we actually went a day or so early because we wanted to go to the National Epilepsy Walk. And plus, it was actually my first time ever being in DC. So,
Yeah.
it was actually a really nice trip, and a wonderful experience. Um, and then, things went great that time, that I actually represented New York at the Kids Speak Up program for like think it was like 2 more years after
Awesome.
that. So like 3 years total. And I know that none of the other kids ever got that opportunity because usually it'd be like the 1 year and that's it.
Mhm. Mhm.
So once came that time, then obviously uh but I didn't have that stop me from being involved with the foundation. Um After that, I kind of did a summer job for them, like being like a researcher. So I made like I had like a job like that can give me some pocket money per
Mhm.
se, because video games are very expensive.
Yeah.
But so I did that for like as a summer thing, and that was also a lot of fun. And then I actually got introduced to an epilepsy camp. So there was this camp that we were told of, called Camp Eager. And shout out to Adam, because I know you're looking right now. I know you're watching this right now.
Adam, clean
Adam
your
was
room.
actually he already cleaned his room. We already got
Oh,
that covered.
okay. Sorry.
Um,
Moving on.
um, but so um, that's actually where me and Adam met. And the camp is actually located over near Rochester, Buffalo area. And this was like the first time. Well, no, this was like the second or third time I've actually like hanged out with a bunch of people, but I was by myself and with people who also had seizures, or had a history with epilepsy. And it was a wonderful experience. And constantly just going and going, kept on going to camp, and then became a CIT, then a counselor. I'm still a counselor till this day, and then also you know do photography for them as well,
Right.
for fun. um and so middle school, high school, passing that through by, you know I wanted to go to college, but I decided to go to community college instead, because a lot of the I'd say a lot of the colleges kind of felt like they were really it was because of the bad grades from high school that obviously made it difficult for me to have a good GPA. And even with like notices on like, you know the reason that the GPA is like this is because of this, and this actually came from the school itself, that the colleges, it kind of felt like they disregarded those, except for a few. Some did accept me, but just the distance was just too far.
Mhm.
Obviously that felt that they didn't want to deal with me. So I decided to go to community college to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. And that's when I actually got into college radio. And then it was like literally two years in community college, then I transferred to a 4 year. And then what happened, I guess you can say my seizures were still acting up. And what happened was that it got to a point that we were running out of medications to try, because my
Yeah.
body was constantly, I've tried I don't know how many medications, but um that my body would like, okay, be a few months seizure free, and then have a seizure, and then my body got used to the medications, then my seizures would be acting up as what they were. um and so it got to the point that I decided that we're gonna get to this point anyway, but let's just get this over and done with. And that's when I decided to have surgery. And obviously, that was a very lengthy process, because I had so many tests I had to do to be a candidate.
What year was this?
Um, this was in 2016.
Wow. Fairly recent.
I know,
Yeah.
yeah. So obviously, it was very um it took a lot of tests and a lot of testing and stuff before I could be considered a candidate. And my case was very complex because um there was no mass or no uh tumor or anything per se that was causing the seizures, because my brain was completely healthy. There was nothing wrong with my brain, and somehow yet I was having seizures.
Right.
um and So that's when we got to see an epileptologist. We did the tests. I came out to be a candidate that, it was only, in a certain area that they had to look at. And so I know it was like a two-phase thing. So they had to do I forgot what they call it, but I just know it's like they put the sensors directly onto the brain. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
like a like a blanket of sensors. I
Yep.
forgot what they call it exactly, but oh, mapping. There we go. So they need to do a mapping of the area to find exactly where the source was. So like exactly where the seizures were starting. And so that was like a very lengthy time because obviously with anesthesia, you're not gonna have seizures for a while. So that was a bit of a lengthy, tedious time I was in the hospital for. But once I had a seizure, they found the area where it was causing it. Um, you know, then we waited a few more months so then they can come up with a game plan. They came up with a game plan what they're gonna do. Um, then on December 12th, 2016, that's when we had the second surgery per se, because I mean they already opened me up once, they're gonna open me up again. And so I had the second surgery, and then what happened was they took out the area, only like a little breakfast sausage, nothing too big.
Mm-hmm.
And basically they took out the source without no complications from the surgery,
It's great.
nothing at all. And it was actually very easy because they and I would want to know if uh if it would be okay if I could take pictures. And I was like, sure. And it was after the surgery that she actually no, it was the day of the discharge that she came over with the pictures, and I was just like, oh my god, is that my head? Like, is that what's inside my head? And it was funny, and it was not that much of a lengthy, didn't take that long as I thought, or as we thought. We were very happy. I know my parents, they wanted me to skip a semester, for recovery.
Right.
And I was like, just give me 3 weeks. It's fine. I'll be fine. And so I actually didn't skip a semester of class so then I can graduate on time. So actually
That's
I graduated a
great.
semester before my class. That's even the funny part.
Yeah, in spite of all of that. That's such a great story. I'm not sure if you've seen the chat. I know you have your stream going too. But Creative said, I'm proud of each and every one of you guys. Senpai said, proud of your 5 years from seizures. You are amazing. And Creative said, you're a champion, my main man.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it.
Ton of support. I apologize in advance. I'm having a little bit of connectivity issues. So if I just like freeze you guys, I'm still here.
Yeah, I saw that and I was almost scared for a second. I'm like, oh
I
no.
know. Oh, the joys of internet and tech. Thank you for sharing all of that. I think that's a really powerful story. Obviously, yours is one that not a lot of people get to experience the seizure freedom, but it does provide a lot of hope to those that are still trying to figure that out on their journey, especially for those that, oh, thanks, Pat. Especially those who, surgery isn't an option, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot more work that we have to be doing to support more research for more treatments out there. Because, like you said, sometimes the treatments work for a little bit and then all of a sudden they're not working at all. And there's not a ton of treatments out there, actually. I was talking with our chief medical officer last week, and she said there's like roughly 30 drugs approved for treating epilepsy and seizures. So, I mean, that is like kind of alarming. I would assume there would be a lot more. So clearly there's a lot more work to do. Oh, thanks, James. James is raiding. Hey, man, how are you? Appreciate the raid. James, you're going to be doing a crazy stream on the 19th. We're looking forward to it. Thanks for joining us.
How
Um,
crazy are we talking about?
I think it's a 12 hour. James has a pretty
Oh
incredible
wow.
community. Yeah, yeah. So I'm excited to have him join again. For those of you guys just rating, we're talking with Cool Boy right now about his journey with epilepsy. This is one of our Let's Talk About Epilepsy chats, so that we can dispel myths and educate people about what epilepsy is like. So thank you again for the raid. I really appreciate it. Um, so I'd love to hear more about your experience with like the camps and like the youth programs and kind of how important that was to you, because I think that's something a lot of kids don't have access to. And then we can also talk a bit more about Teen Speak Up because we actually, you were doing Kids Speak Up, which, so if you guys, this is a little bit of inside baseball, but New York isn't a part of the National Epilepsy Foundation. They're their own nonprofit, but we work with them. They're called an affiliate. So it's boring, but basically they have their own 501c3 number, as we do, but we work together on items. So we do, as a national organization, still have our Teen Speak Up program, which is our advocacy program. Obviously, a lot of that has been on hold because of the pandemic. But I'd love to hear more about camps because camps are more rare for people with epilepsy. So I'd love to hear about your experience with all that.
Oh no, definitely. So it was actually during one of my hospitalizations that we actually found out about the epilepsy camps. And um there, surprisingly there's not that many in like the Northeast area.
No.
Which is, a bit crazy. Like I know there's one in, like, I think there was one in Long Island. I'm not 100% sure, but there was one that was in Long Island. But then, we were told about, oh, there's this one over in Rochester, Camp Eager.
How far is that
And
from you? Like, I have no idea.
to be honest, it's a 6-hour drive.
Oh, okay. Well, that's like a camp drive in my mind. I was picturing like 4 hours.
Yeah, it was, so it was a 6-hour drive. And um basically, uh a bit lengthy, but my parents wanted me to go to epilepsy camp. Because I've never, I actually went to epilepsy camp first before the Kids Speak Up. So this was actually the first time I was actually meeting other kids who have seizures or dealing with seizures. Um, and it was a really, like, I guess, a heartwarming experience, to know and connect with, these other people who are dealing with the same stuff that I was dealing with. Because with me, in, like, in middle school and high school, I did not there was not I was the only one.
I was gonna
um
say, did you know anybody else in your like normal day to day? So that had to be
no,
tough.
sadly, there was no one else who ever was dealing with seizures at my, either the middle or high school.
Mm.
um but so what happened, was that, uh so I went to the camp. Very lengthy drive, but my mom, they survived. um and it was for a week long. I got to meet, like a bunch of other campers. Like, again, Adam was one. My friend,
Oh, that's a good.
Robert, he was another.
Pat had a question. Did you stay in touch with any camp buddies? Which, yeah,
Oh, still to this day.
yeah. I'm sure
Adam
you guys
Adam
bonded
can
over
vouch.
that. Yeah. I give Adam a hard time. You guys don't even know who Adam is, probably. We played it Among Us once, and wait, were we playing Among Us? Yeah, we were for the
Yeah,
kickoff. Yeah.
yeah.
And he was too busy to play because he was cleaning his room. That, if you want to know the inside joke, that's it. It's really
Yeah.
not that much.
But the other thing was that after that first year camp, I actually found out that one of the campers who I knew, her name is Victoria, she actually lived 30 minutes, like less than 30 minutes away from my house in the area. So, after, it got, like, after camp, like, I would connect, and then, like, we would, like, hang out at times and stuff like that. So, like, there was a few campers that were in the area, not 100. I mean, not like everyone, because obviously a lot of them
Right.
were in the Niagara region.
Hmm.
So, and I feel like, it's actually funny because at the camp, I obviously I work as a counselor there now. Um, but they were working on a break schedule, or per se. And one of the staff people came up to me, and they're like, like, trying to figure out the whole break schedule and everything. And they literally asked me like, "Hey, Gil, does anybody hate you?" And then they're like, "It's weird because you're probably the only person that no one hates."
So they keep you around.
Yeah, well, no, yeah, but they're just trying to figure out who would be best with who during
Yeah.
the break. So,
Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
they they divide it, so then everyone has like that one day to like be with people who they would want to be with.
Right. Right.
So, they try to make it as best as possible.
So
And yeah, I mean, for me being with that camp, like ever since then, there's not been a single time like I've ever skipped. Every
I'm
year I keep on
sure.
going, except for 2020. That was a whole different thing because
Yeah.
obviously with how things were, but
Right.
um, you know,
Because that camp still is going on, right? And it is in the future?
yes,
Cool.
yeah, that camp is still. I don't know. I'm not for sure if they're changing the month time because of how productive it was this year.
Mm,
Because
sure.
it used to be like in the August time, but then they did like on the last week of July.
Mm,
I think because of like volunteering and stuff like that.
sure. Sure.
So usually it falls in like the summertime. It's only a one like just for 1 week,
Mm,
and for people who don't know others with seizures, I've recommended them to go to it. Like for instance, uh it was actually my first year at my 4-year college that I actually came across someone who also had epilepsy, and I
wow.
actually found out. Um and so I told her about the camp because she didn't know anyone with epilepsy other than me,
Okay.
because it was like at that moment we both found out from each other we have seizures. And so I recommended to her the camp, and you know recommended that she come volunteer, get to meet others who also have seizures too. And you know she's been at that camp ever since.
That's cool. That's really cool. We got a question in the chat, if you don't mind. What was
Of
camp
course.
like? What did you do? So, what is camp like for people with epilepsy who attend?
So basically, so how the process would go is that I know it's like 1 full week of camp. The counselors would be there the day before for training. So obviously we would do like the epilepsy first
First
aid
aid.
camp
Yep.
protocols and all that stuff. And then the Sunday, that's when the campers would come in. And obviously, like it's cabin camping. It's not like tent camping per
Yep.
se. And and all the cabins are divided based on the age groups. And the Sunday, it's like everyone's like either meeting new people or seeing people they haven't seen in like over a year per se. um and then Monday is like the start of the activities. So it's like usually Mondays are like the kind of like the crazy days, because we're getting to like see how everyone's hanging out with each other, like are the campers cooperating with each other. um is there anything we have to watch out for specifically? I know we get like all like the information beforehand on what our campers have, or if they're either if they're do they have seizures, are their seizures active, what kind of seizures do they have,
Right.
is there any special medications that they have, because I know there's the emergency medications.
When you were
um
introducing, like, and talking with other people, were there other people that had similar seizures to you that you felt like it was pretty similar in what your experiences were, or do you feel like there was always kind of a variation in what people experienced?
so for my seizures specifically, I would say no to that question. And the reason is because that for my seizures, it would be weird, because if there was a sequence of sound that I heard, a sequence of tone, then that would be like my warning sign a seizure is about to happen.
Right.
And I know obviously I would consider that Nora, um, because I have like a few second window to like be in a safe place to make sure like I'm not like gonna get hurt, or just in case, because there'd be times maybe I could, who knows what a seizure could do.
Right. Right.
um and um when it came with any of the campers that I've seen or I've known, they've had complex partial seizures. But I've never heard of someone having seizures. I've never met someone who's had seizures just as like as mine because of tone of sound
Right,
or,
your
you
triggers.
know, yeah, exactly.
Oh,
And
Cass,
it's
thanks
even
for the Cass Fast, Cass Fast. Thank you for the raid. That's really nice. We appreciate it.
oh, thank you, Kaz.
Do you know Cass?
No.
Oh. Hi. Hi guys. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Appreciate your support. We are here talking with I love random raids. I mean, here we are. It's a Monday. Might as well be a
And
random raid.
y-
We're here talking with one of our ambassadors, Occcoolboy, about his epilepsy journey. This is part of our Let's Talk About Epilepsy series we do kind of casually as we can, and as I have time available. But he was just talking about his experience with camp.
yeah. Um, it's actually funny because now I actually have a question on my chat.
Yay! Answer. Let's go.
Shout out to Washi.
Thanks, Washi.
So he actually has a question. What exactly is epilepsy? I've heard it about
Ooh.
flashing lights, but I've never really understood it. Are reactions variant by person?
Yes, yes, yes. Um, so basically, epilepsy is characterized by having seizures. So there are different types of seizure disorders. And maybe you can talk to this more, Gil. Why don't you talk about your experience with having epilepsy, what it's meant to you?
No, definitely. So again, I had complex partial seizures. So my seizures would be, like daydreams.
Right,
So, as if like pretend like you're talking to me, but I'm not responding. I'm just looking like in a daze.
right.
That's actually the seizures that I had. There are many different types, from the daydreaming, complex partial to
Yep.
grand mal, which, grand mal tonic-clonics. But I know now they call them generalized seizures
Generalized,
now.
yeah, generalized onset, focal onset, and unknown onset, which basically just means we don't know what's causing it. Um, but I mean, basically, epilepsy is just it's electrical current. It's a disturbance in your brain. Something isn't firing correctly, which causes, for in Gil's instance, is oh wait, what did you say? Complex partial.
Yes.
Yes. But Gail is 5 years seizure free. So thankfully for him, he was talking about this earlier that he was able to get surgery and that was able to give him seizure freedom. That is not always an option. There are devices as well that people can have implanted to help control their seizures. However, it's not as common. Usually it's kind of people have to take the drug treatment or what have you. Oh, go Fat Go. Hey, yeah. I knew there'd be somebody. You always find a Packer fan somewhere. I was in Germany. This is a sidebar. And there was a guy wearing a Packer hat. And we were like in this random neighborhood by the Olympiastadion. And he was wearing a Packer hat. It was crazy. Um, anyway, Packers aside. Sorry, this is not an official Green Bay Packer fan account. I'm not sure how my boss would feel about me wearing this right now, but I think it's fine. So I,
Copyright.
yeah, did that. Oh, Riley, you're rating too. Wow, this is like a fun raid Monday. Oh my gosh, you bring all the people, Gil. Gil, you're so
Sorry.
popular. Why are you sorry? Don't be sorry. You're popular. I'm not popular. I don't bring the crowds along here. Thanks for rating, Riley. Riley played Among Us with us last night.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that was Boo.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. You kept on getting killed like
I
the first
know
time.
Riley really was. You were a really good sport, Riley. Kept on getting killed. She said that she was trying to play it again. I joined her stream a little bit earlier, and Among Us wasn't working again. So anyway, did that answer his question? Sorry, I got off on a tangent by the Go Pack Go.
No, you're good. You're good. I believe it did.
I think so too. You can always check out epilepsy.com for your viewer in the chat to learn more about epilepsy and seizures. For in our chat, we have a variety of commands that you can try out, like exclamation point epilepsy, exclamation point epilepsy types, because there's kind of the subsets of different epilepsy types, and within that there are seizure types. So, and also like Gil has talked about, there are a variety of different triggers too. So it isn't necessarily just photosensitivity. That's actually about only 5% of people with epilepsy have photosensitive epilepsy. So they're triggered by flashing lights or kind of what you'd see on TV in the grand mal sense of you see like a strobe light and you're down and out. Um, And it could be like Gil said, it's actually more common to have partial complex partial where you kind of like days off, or you're not as like you're just not paying attention in the moment because you're having a seizure. But obviously, there's also different layers of severity. So there are people that, like Gil, maybe you might know people that can't drive because of their seizures. I certainly do. You have to, depending
Yeah.
on your state, you have to be able to show that you've been seizure free for X period of time. Again, depending on your state rules, so you can get your license back. Some people can't ever drive because of that.
Yeah, crazy story about that.
Yeah, tell.
Um, there was one time, so I was 16 years old. Was it 16? And I was like either 16 or 17. And we were doing good. Medications were, doing fine. Things were going great. We were getting close to what was it? We were getting close to getting the paper signed off so I could actually like, get my permit,
Drive,
my learner's
yeah.
permit. I ended up getting a seizure on the 364th day. So the day before we were gonna
No.
finalize everything, I had a
No.
seizure.
Oh my God. And that's how it
And,
can happen, you guys. Oh, thanks,
uh,
Kaz. Oh, wait. This is gonna upset you. Angel said Tinky Winky Dipsy. La la. Hey, Ash Angel. Guys, for those of you here, you probably don't even know, you don't know why we're saying Teletubbies. Last night we were playing Among Us on Lily Maria's chat. Oh, sorry, Monkey. We have to moderate like symbols and stuff, so that's why your thing got deleted. Because we have people that spam our chat and try to like do flashing gifts and stuff like that. So I apologize that yours got deleted because of all the dots. I need to fix that. Um, but yeah, like, sorry, we're just singing Teletubbies. You guys just threw me off.
I knew this was gonna happen.
I can't play it either on this channel because it's not appropriate. Um, but if you guys know that meme, the Teletubbies song, you'll know what we're
They're probably
talking
not.
about. Probably not. Okay. So, yes, you too. Thanks, Kaz. I think we answered your chat's question. Do you have any other people? Does anybody else have questions there?
As of now, no.
No? Okay, cool. Not here either. So the other thing I want to talk to you about, so obviously camp was key for you and helping you like obviously feel like you're not alone, right? And meeting new people.
Hmm.
For so many people that is not a possibility because there is not a camp nearby. So shout out to Epilepsy Foundation of Metro New York for having a camp and getting the funding to continue that camp because that is incredible. Oh, Dr. Jones says, I know this song that shows what nightmares are made of. Oh, yeah, I caused a lot of nightmares yesterday because I kept singing it while we were playing. But I'd love to hear more about your experience with advocacy because that is something that a lot of people could do because it's one of our national programs and you meet
Hmm.
people that also have epilepsy. So I'd love to hear more about your experience with Kids Speak Up and what that all entailed.
No, definitely, of course. So, with the Kids Speak Up program, that actually introduced me to advocacy. And I know that I had like, days of like learning about advocacy, how can we advocate? Um, and then the other positive was that we also, I also got to, meet other kids from other states who are also like, like doing this. Like, for instance, there was one who was actually, surprisingly, she was an author. You know, oh, she was author of a book. Again, names totally keep on forgetting, but this was like years ago.
Right.
Um, and there was one who was actually like in the nationals for track and field. um there was a lot of like other like kids I was meeting, and like again we were also like my parents would also meet like their families as well.
Right.
And um and then also I got to meet with not just like my state senator but local politicians as well, local representatives, on uh discussing on like how can we do better with advocacy for epilepsy, or how can we improve it, or
Mhm.
it that really opened the door for me for advocacy. And I feel like that, like, every year that would happen, that it would it would just constantly like go up. And sorry, I got like so many follows just from that.
You're welcome. Thank
Black
you
Girl
guys
Angel,
for
thank you so much for the
supporting him.
follow. The Epilepsy, thank you so much for the follow. Riley Bear, thank you so much for the follow. Okay. uh, um. Okay. So, man, I lost track of thought. Okay, now I know where I'm at.
Yeah.
But it was like every year, like the doors, like like each year I was learning something new and new, and um, it actually got to the point because I was actually in Boy Scouts,
Hmm.
and there's this high rank in Boy Scouts known as the Eagle Scout rank.
Right.
And for the Eagle Scout rank, basically it's a rank for that involves like working on a project. And usually they would build stuff. People like say, oh, we're going to build a bridge to to a trail, to like a local trail, or or let's paint one of the
Right. Some
classrooms or
sort of
something
like
like
community
that.
service. Yeah.
Basically, I was the one that was like way out of the box.
I'm gonna go to my state senator. Yeah.
Funny thing, I was like, I'm gonna do an epilepsy awareness event.
Love
And
that.
then I had like literally every head looking at me at the like the planning thing, because I was like literally the first one that's ever done something like that in the area.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it involved a lot of like, okay, we got to be careful with this kind of, because you know it's an event, it's going to be a public event.
Yep.
And the one that was like really becoming an issue was like, what about insurance? Is there going to be insurance, in case of anything?
Right.
Special shout out, man, it was like, I believe it was either Allstate or State Farm. One of the big companies actually sponsored and actually gave
Oh,
us insurance for the event.
cool. That's awesome.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so obviously that was like the one, like the hurdle we had to go over.
Mhm.
And so we had everything.
Yeah.
And what happened was that after that, the one other hurdle was that we had to get a manager, a Boy Scout manager, like, Eagle Project manager, to sign off and be like, like, I approve this event for, I approve this being an Eagle Scout event, Eagle
Yep.
Scout, project.
Right.
A lot of them were denying it because they've never, again, first time someone's actually done
Lack
this
of
in the area.
education. Yeah. Yeah. Knowing.
Yeah. And so we actually did find one after looking at all the paperwork that we have, like the whole game plan. um they approved it. And
That's awesome.
then we got the ball rolling on it. um and while this was happening, we did actually get some help from from a local foundation known as Support Connection. And they're actually an organization that actually focuses on breast cancer awareness. And we met with I met with the executive director for the Support Connection. And we'd have like weekly meetings on like seeing how the project's going, if there needs to be any planning or is there anything missing. And again, she also gave a bunch of connections, like for if we want to get t-shirts, we do this, we go to this person. If you're looking for something, go to this person. And she really helped a lot with what we need to get and what we should do.
Mhm.
um and we got a bunch of sponsorships that came in, like
Awesome.
for instance, Five Guys gave us gift cards to give out. Dunkin' Donuts gave us a bunch of donuts. Chili's gave us a bunch of food. um and after everything started getting planned, the town actually donated the building for the event. And they've never done
Hey.
it for an event, but they never donated the building at all for an event, so they donated it. And so everything was all set. um we actually did get some news media involved as well.
Cool.
They came over for the event, and also did my local representative. She actually came for the event as well. So
That's
it
great.
was it was a huge success. And then also, as a little caveat, I did do a book drive for donating books to the Children's Hospital of Montefiore. Because we've been involved with them for all those hospitalizations, all that stuff. and we had obviously a close connection with um the child life department, who, like, they help with the kids and all that stuff. And we actually donated like 100 plus books
Awesome.
over to them, as a sign, as appreciation for like what they do. And um yeah, and that was like probably one of the biggest, that was like the big project I've ever worked on.
I'm
And
sure it
then
was
also
very
I did.
rewarding.
Oh, it was definitely
Yeah. And it
awarding,
kind of like all of your involvement, like I feel like a lot of people that age, I when I was that age, I never would have thought to do that because like I never was a part of something like bigger than myself. So that really is cool that you're able to be a part of these bigger orgs like camp and all of that. So then you knew that you could pull this off.
yeah, it was a bunch of, it took a lot of planning, and
Oh yeah.
and
I plan
obviously
events.
from,
I know. It's busy. It's a lot. It's a lot.
yeah, it took a bunch of planning. It took a bunch of support from my family, and also my friends, and from the troop, because with me being in Boy Scouts, they also have seen me with seizures.
Right.
They actually, the other positive was that they actually knew how to help me. They knew seizure first aid in case
It's
of
great.
situations. So, they also were trained in seizure first aid, which, I really, I
That's so
really
important.
appreciate,
Yeah, you guys, I just
because,
put the information about Seizure First Aid in chat. We offer a free on-demand or online course that you can attend. It's about 30 minutes to 60, depending on which format you participate in. We did have somebody have a comment for you that I wanted you to hear. Um,
oh,
Dr. Jones, man, he said, I think that this is a really good idea to have the people who can make people aware of epilepsy meet with people with epilepsy. As someone who has a brother with epilepsy, that makes me very happy that this is becoming a much bigger thing. So thank you for being here.
well,
Um, and then Epilepsy said, I'm finding the side effects of my meds really difficult to deal with, especially because they can feel like a symptom of epilepsy at times. I'm sure that Gil could probably speak to this and or other
oh
people in
yeah,
chat, but I'm also going to put in our helpline number for you, Epilepsy. Are the real people. I work with them often. Gigi, Kathleen, they're really real people answering the phone. If you have questions about medications or where you can go, things like that, they can help direct you to more resources and support. But I think a lot of the time, and Gil can probably talk to this, that's kind of just
oh yeah,
the effect of taking the medication, unfortunately. But definitely, obviously, I'm not a doctor. However, I know obviously speaking with your doctor is probably the most prudent way to hopefully maybe address some of your side effects if necessary, or if there's anything possible that they can do, or find an epileptologist. They obviously Gil talked about meeting an epileptologist, and that kind of helped him towards his road towards seizure freedom. So I'm sorry that I can't do more to help you. I feel bad about that. I think that's something I hear about a lot.
yeah,
That's why it's cool to hear about Gil's story because is seizure
yeah,
free, because it is possible. It's also not possible for others. So, but maybe you can
yeah.
talk
I
about
should.
some of your symptoms. Yeah.
So just before I talk about this, just want to let you know I'm not a doctor either.
Yes.
um, but obviously, obviously speaking to your neurologist or an epileptologist is,
It's
one of the,
key.
the best things to do. I highly recommend, if anyone has any issues with the medications, or, if you're dealing with, the side effects, don't keep it a secret. Obviously, let
No.
your doctor know about it.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, can I jump in for a sec?
sure, go right ahead.
We have, so if you were on our chat last week, I just tried putting it in, but apparently that command is, I deleted it for some reason. First of all, the Epilepsy Foundation is coming out with a new app. It's called Eden, and that actually helps you track your seizures and all of your activity. It also links up with 90% of hospital systems right now in the US. So basically, what you can do is you create your account. It's a free app. Right now, we're starting beta testing. So if you're interested in joining the beta test, please let me know. I just put the email in there. You can join our Discord too. Um, But basically, we're looking for people that have epilepsy and or just, kind of have more of a technology proficiency to help test the app. So I know Pat, who's here, is one of our testers, and some others in the chat as well, just to make sure we can get all the bugs out of it because it's going to be a free resource. And as our chief medical officer said, she's hoping for complete world domination with this app because she is herself one of the pioneers of epilepsy treatment and research. And so she's recognized and helped develop what a doctor would need in helping to get your background information and help you track your seizures through like text based messaging and things like that in the app. So that's number one. So I'm glad you brought that up because that's something that she's emphasized to me in every chat we've had so far. That is something, one of the biggest challenges is that people aren't able to track it or they forget to track certain things because your doctor needs a lot of information to treat you best. And then the second thing I said was Ellis, which I tried to put the command in. Ellis is our epilepsy learning health system. And basically, it's kind of the other side of the coin. So while Eden helps with patients and caregiver side, Ellis is the provider side. And so it's our program where we're working directly with hospitals, epileptologists, neurologists, and their networks to, in real time, get information about progress or breakthroughs that they've had in certain care or treatment. And they're able to disperse it amongst this network instead of, waiting on lengthy research trials and things like that. Just publish like something basic about that helps improve somebody's quality of life. So we're really working on both sides of the coin with thanks to our, chief medical officer. So I just went on that tangent, but I'm really excited about it because she did a walkthrough of the app. So if you want to check out our VODs, you can see the app. And if you're interested in beta testing, please let me know because the more people we have, the better. So Gil, sorry, go back to you and tracking your seizure symptoms.
Oh no, man. I know. I mean, obviously, that's like I'm very happy to hear that something like that's like even exists because I know with a lot of with some people that if they do have an episode, they're not gonna remember it because like for me, like I would have a seizure, I would fall asleep, and then when I wake up, most of the times I'd be like, what just happened, or
Right.
like I wouldn't even like remember, I wouldn't even recall having a seizure.
Right. And it even integrates with like your device wearables. So there are seizure wearables, right, that people can
Hmm.
wear, and there's also like your Apple Watch or your Fitbit. So
I was about to say, wasn't there? Because I know that I know there was something that was a beta. It was like a John Hopkins app or something like that. That was like also for like seizures as well that you can integrate with your Apple Watch.
yeah, yeah. So the difference between those and Eden is that Eden also connects with the providers.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's also because it's with the Epilepsy Foundation. We're obviously when you download the app, we'll give you the opportunity to opt in with your data, but the data becomes randomized, and so then as a result of people joining the app, we're going to be able to identify a lot more trends with seizure treatment, to
Okay.
help us inform research. So again, it's like also informing some of the great work that we're going to be able to do and fund as a result of the app. So, and it was super easy to use. She did it really quick. So again, check out the VODs if you want. But I'm not sure about all the details about the Hopkins one, but
Hmm.
that's just what she said kind of differentiated ours from others. And because it is supported by the Epilepsy Foundation America, and we have all these partner hospitals and programs in place already, that it's going to hopefully just have more information quicker than just kind of a one-off app for one program or practice.
Oh no, just from how it sounds very impressive. I'm very
Yeah,
happy to see
I'm
that something like
excited.
that exists.
She, I mean, so our chief medical officer, Dr. French, she is like, I can't emphasize this enough. She's incredible. I can't believe she's been on here twice already. She's so busy. But she said out of all of her projects that she's worked on, this is probably one of her like most exciting ones. It's like she calls it her pet project. And this woman is incredible. I mean, she's an expert in epilepsy and seizures and treating people. So, um, yes, you have to check out the VODs. Yeah, and I think you guys were gonna beta test. So the information's in Discord if you want to do that. We'd love to have as many people as possible beta test. But yeah, did you have anything like that helped you, like in terms of your seizure tracking? Was that something your like family helped you with?
So it's actually funny when you mean tracking. So there was this black binder, that my and this and we I guess like as the hospitalizations constantly came back and forth,
Yeah.
there was this thing that we used called we called it the Bible.
Sure. Yeah.
And the reason why we called it is because, from all the seizures that I had and everything, it was like a color coordinated type of grid checking on when I had a seizure, what date I had it, and what was the seizure. And my mom, would use this, as the way for tracking it. And it's like every time we would come
Wow.
to the hospital for my neurologist visits,
Bring the Bible.
we could see us walking with this big black binder. And I mean, it got to the point, I think it was like literally, I think it was like my last,
Wow.
year of having to deal with seizures, or still being, active with seizures, that binder was literally about to break. It
Yeah,
got to that point.
I'm sure. That's
But
yeah.
um
That's cool that so the app will hope is going to be able to synthesize that in your phone, which is
yeah,
so
well, yeah, now
important.
now it's just so much, now it's more better because now you
Yeah,
can put on your phone.
right. And that carry the Bible with you everywhere. The Bible as in this is not a religious this is not a religious stream. The Bible is in his seizure
Nah,
tracking binder that his mom put together.
nah.
Does your mom still
I
have that?
I think she still has it. I'm not 100% sure.
Wow.
I have to double check, but I think she might still
Yeah.
have it. I know it's in the part of the house that's like we don't like, it's like her office space.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know where, but I bet it's still there.
Oh,
But
thanks for joining, Ash. Have a great night. Yeah.
which one's that? Oh, Black
Yeah, but
Russ.
Angel and Ash, they
Oh,
played
thank you so much,
Among Us
Angel.
with us last night. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so hard with the
I
actual
know.
names
This is the first
compared to
I know. I know. It's hard. I just know because I talk to you guys all the time offline.
nah. But also in regards to the medications thing,
Oh yeah,
I
sorry. I interrupted
I
you.
had, oh no, you're good. I know for me, with all the medications, like I've tried I tried a lot of medications. Um and obviously, there are its positives, but the negatives start, really do become an issue. I know, like, there was even one time that we tried using steroids.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Um got me a little too short tempered.
Yeah.
But you know, that was a whole different story.
Okay.
But I know there is, oh man, there was this one time we had the perfect combination of medications that I
Mhm.
was seizure free for a long time. The downfall on it though was that we noticed that I was actually dramatically losing weight
Oh. Okay.
because the medication would constantly make me feel full, and I didn't want it. Like, I would have like, if you gave me like a full plate of food, I would only have like 2 or 3 bites and I'd be saying like I'm full. And uh obviously, and it was weird because it was like a huge debate because, you know my mom was like, it has to be this medication because the medication, it has to be this one because it can't be this one because I was on it already.
Right. And
And
you
it,
were
it was
having
a
a
new
problem.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then the thing was that, everyone was going to, not everyone, but like, there were a few people saying it shouldn't be this one because this one actually makes you gain weight, not lose weight.
Mm.
But my mom did a bunch of research and found out that the medication does actually have an adverse effect somehow. Again,
The
moms, they
inverse
just
of
do all
it.
the
Yeah.
they do all the research.
Yeah.
But so once they took me off the medication, we had so many like different, like we had like third opinions, fourth opinions, fifth opinions on this whole thing. But it got to the point that they took me off the medication to see how it was and replaced it with something else. And
Yeah.
then, I started to, gain back my body weight again.
Wow. Wow. So,
So it
yeah,
was
I
the
mean, unfortunately for epilepsy, that's kind of a common occurrence is that you have kind of adverse effects. So, again, I think Gil and I agree. Obviously, talking to your provider is really important, but also you can reach out to Helpline. We can kind of direct you to resources and support if you need it additionally. But thank you for sharing. Um, Gil, the hour has almost flown by. Can you even believe
That
it?
was quick.
I know. This was a hoot. Um, so you guys, we typically do this one for about an hour. So just an FYI, we do have another one planned for tomorrow. Black Rose, who's in the chat, actually we will be talking with him at 5 p.m. Eastern, if I've got my time right. So 2 p.m. PT. I swear, since I started doing running stream for epilepsy, I know time zones much better. Seriously. Um, so feel free to come and check it out. We'll have another kind of hour-long conversation about his journey with epilepsy. His seizures are not controlled, so he still has seizures today, and they haven't found a solution quite yet. But Gil, I want to congratulate you on your seizure freedom and all that you've been doing. I think if you've been here since the beginning, you've obviously seen how Gil has been involved with the Epilepsy Foundation from the beginning, which is incredible. Very lucky. And again, shout out to the Epilepsy Foundation of Metropolitan New York for being there and providing the support and resources that you needed. Unfortunately, that isn't always the case. There are people that do not know about the Epilepsy Foundation or what we do to support. We are, of course, a nonprofit organization, so we want to help. We want to be there and help in any way we can, whether or not we're in your local community and have a local office or not. We can still help you with the resources and connect you to whomever you need for support. So feel free to take a peek at epilepsy.com if you need it or somebody else needs it that you care about. And Gil, I want to just like leave it to you. Do you have any like final thoughts or things you want to say to kind of wrap it up?
Honestly, obviously, thank you so much for the opportunity
Thank
because
you for joining. Yes.
no, of course, because it was so funny that me doing a random what's it called me doing a charity stream for my birthday for the Epilepsy Foundation then led up to this.
Yes, it's crazy. Yeah, just for your reference, you guys, he signed up to do a charity stream. And then I reached out because I just can't help myself.
No. But for anyone that who does have seizures, I mean who do have epilepsy, just remember, you're not alone. There are other people out there that also have it. It's like always, like when I was in high school, and obviously I didn't know anyone else who had seizures, other than camp. But you just got to remember, like there's always the 1 in 26.
Yep.
And
One in
it's
26 will develop epilepsy in their lifetime, you guys. That's what he's referencing.
yeah. So just remember that you're not alone. There are others out there, and you know basically, yeah,
There's hope. Yeah, that's what I'm
there's
hearing.
hope.
Yeah. And you are not alone. I couldn't agree more.
Not the Teletubby. Let's just get that straight. Not
Do we want to end with Teletubbies? Tinky Winky. Just kidding. Stop.
stop.
They all hate me. They hate me. But again, Gil, thank you for joining. You guys, again, putting his information in the chat. Please drop him a follow, show him some support. He's charity streaming still for the rest of the month. Our full schedule is on our website, streamforepilepsy.com, if you want to check out all those who are doing lovely charity streams for National Epilepsy Awareness Month, which again is the whole month of November. It's a huge month for the Epilepsy Foundation and what we do to support our community. And we have our Game Over Epilepsy event going strong right now. We've raised $8,000. Thank you to Gil and his community as well. They obviously are raising a portion of that to help support our overall goal for the month of November as we look ahead to 2022, which I can't even believe it. We're already almost to Thanksgiving, but basically it's like Christmas right now for me.
It's not Christmas. Let's
It's
just
like
get that straight.
November
It's
1 to Thanksgiving Eve is Christmas, and then the day after Thanksgiving is through like end of January, it's Christmas. So,
That's still not
is that a hot
Christmas.
take? Is that a hot take?
It's a hot.
Why?
It's a hot debate right now.
No, Pat said no Christmas music allowed yet. Okay, fine.
I agree. I
Fine.
agree.
Whatever you say, Pat. Um, but again, thank you all for your support and tune in tomorrow for our next one as well with Ash. But thank you again to Coolboy again for joining and for being such a fun member of our ambassador community with such a short period of time. I feel like I've also learned a lot about you, so I appreciate all your time and your efforts to raise awareness. And it's really cool too to have you on because you're lifelong. You've been a part of the Epilepsy Foundation and what we do, so it's really nice to get that perspective too.
No, of course. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Cool. All right, you guys, we're gonna be ending our stream. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Let's see who I can raid right now. Hey, um, I logged off because of my internet issues of my dashboard. So let's see. Let's do Shock Johnson. He actually just raised over $1,000 on Saturday. It was incredible. So we're gonna
Oh
go ahead
wow.
and rate. Yeah, it was really fun. He's also a Harry Potter fan. If you're into that, you can actually do Command Hat and Command Patronus in his chat, and it'll tell you which house you're in and what Patronus you have. So I was having fun with that. But all right, let's go over to Shock Johnson's chat, and thank you again, Gil. I really appreciate all your support.
Of course. Thank you again.
Yeah, just rating.